Now we're going to do the part of the section that, quite frankly, most students have some difficulty with, and all students at least have to make sure they practice a number of the problems in order to feel comfortable with it. We're going to look at finding formulas for quadratic functions. When we do this, there will be two cases we will be looking at. The first case is that we know the zeros and one other point. The second case will be that we know the vertex and one other point. The second case, this case B, we are going to discuss in section 3.2, so we won't be doing that in section 3.1. So we're first going to look at case A, when we know the x-intercepts and one other point. So how do we do this? Well, what's going to happen is we're going to use the form for a quadratic of f at x equals a multiplied by the quantity x minus root 1 multiplied by the quantity x minus root 2. We're going to substitute in the two x-intercepts into the function for r1 and r2, and then we're going to substitute in the other point that we know for x and f at x, for x and y, and we're going to solve for a. So let's take a look at an example. Here I've given a graph, and we'll notice that our x-intercepts are -5 and 8. And notice we have another point, which in this case is the point where the graph crosses the y-axis, and so this would tell us we have the point 0, 20. So the first thing we do is we write down our equation. Remember, we said we do f at x is equal to a x minus root 1 x minus root 2. So when I do this, I'm going to have a x minus, my first root was -5, multiplied by x minus my second root, which was 8, which simplifies to give us a multiplied by x plus 5, x minus 8. Now we substitute in a point, and I already said we would use the point 0, 20. So I plug 20 in for y and 0 in for x. So that gives me 20 equals a multiplied by the quantity 0 plus 5 multiplied by the quantity 0 minus 8. So that gives me 20 equals -40a, and a is -1/2. So the final answer is f at x equals -1/2 multiplied by x plus 5 multiplied by x minus 8. Students sometimes ask me, do we need to multiply this out? For my purposes, no. You may leave it right in this form. You may notice in the book at times they do multiply it out. You may have to just to be able to check your answer. But for my purposes on homework or exams, that will not be necessary.